My child, you have just passed another test of faith. Yes, this video will get only my chosen ones who have already passed this test. My child, if you are wondering what kind of this test was and what is going to happen next, then you need to pay attention to these words completely. Child, view of thee. I have watched you not just in this moment but from the beginning of your breath. I have seen you walk through shadows, doubt your worth, question your strength and cry in silence. I have seen the way the world has treated you. How it tried to shape you into something you are not. But you did not break. You bent. You wept. You staggered, but you did not break. This is what I needed to see. You wonder what kind of test it was, and I tell you this, it was the test of obedience, of patience, of silent endurance. You were tested in the moments no one saw, in the hours when you chose not to act out in bitterness, in the seconds when you could have retaliated but held your peace. The test was not for spectacle. Not for others to see and applaud. The test was within. It was in your inner room where only I dwell. Where only I see. That is where you passed. This was not a test to punish, but to reveal the strength I placed in you long ago. I will uncover the depth of your heart's loyalty to me. For many say they love me when the sun is shining, when the doors open, when the path is smooth. But I look for those who still speak my name when the clouds gather, when the winds howl, when the door closes and the light fades. I look for those who wait without a sign. Who trust without an explanation. Who believe when the evidence is gone. That is the test you passed. Now, my child, because you have walked through that fire, you have not only been proven, you have been purified. You do not yet see what I have been preparing for you, but soon your eyes will open. Do not expect the next chapter to look like the last. I am doing a new thing. The former things have passed away. I am birthing something in you that could only be formed through this process of fire, silence, and trust. The pain you felt was not in vain. It was purposeful, intentional, divine. You will begin to sense a shift, though at first it may come subtly. I will open your ears to hear me more clearly. I will awaken your dreams again, not like before, but with clarity and weight. You will not need to run after voices to confirm what you feel in your spirit. I myself will be your confirmation. I will speak to you in the stillness. My words will carry the weight of eternity. They will silence your fear and drive out confusion. You ask what comes next. Listen, for I will not leave you blind. I do not lead my children by confusion, but by purpose. What comes next is alignment. You will begin to see me remove things that no longer serve you, not to punish, but to prepare. Some people, some habits, some places will begin to fall away. Do not cling to them. Do not mourn their departure. For what I remove, I replace with better. What I prune I cause to bear more fruit. What I close I do to open greater. You have passed through a narrow place. That was your wilderness. That was your hidden season. You were not forgotten. You were concealed. I covered you while I worked on you. I hid you from the eyes of those who would have spoken death over your promise. I placed you under the shadow of my wing, not because I was displeased with you, but because I delighted in you. I protected your process. I kept you close even when you didn't feel me near. Now I am calling you to step forward, not hastily, not anxiously, but boldly. You will not need to strive. You will not need to fight to be seen. I will shine through you. I will make your name known. Not for your sake, but because your heart is ready to carry my glory without pride. You will not touch the praise. You will direct it to me. That is why I chose you. That is why you were tested. That is why you were hidden. Let me speak now to the part of you that is still doubting. Yes, I see it. I see the questions you've buried beneath your faith. I am not angry with your questions. I welcome them. Come to me with your uncertainty. I am not intimidated by your weakness. I am drawn to it. For in your weakness, my strength is made perfect. You have nothing to prove to me. I already know who you are and I still chose you. I chose you knowing the times you would fail. I chose you knowing the moments you would fall short. My love does not depend on your performance. It is rooted in my nature. The time you thought was wasted was actually preparation. The seasons that looked like failure were divine foundations. I have been building a structure in your spirit that can withstand the weight of what I'm about to pour out. You were not being delayed. You were being fortified. You were being matured. You were being separated from the noise so you could learn the sound of my voice. There is coming a release. I will release you into the very things I whispered to you in secret. The things you thought were too big, too distant, too impossible. They are coming, but not as you imagined. I do things in ways that confound the wise. I don't follow the paths of men. I carve my own. I take the lowly and lift them high. I take the rejected and crown them with favor. That is your portion. You will begin to walk in divine appointments. Watch how doors open without your effort. Watch how people come to you, not because you sought them out, but because I drew them. Watch how the resources appear. How the timing aligns. How everything begins to converge. That is me. That is my hand. You will know it because there will be peace, not pressure. You will not have to manipulate anything. I will cause it to come to you because your heart is aligned with mine. You will be tempted to minimize what I do through you. Do not walk humbly, yes, but do not apologize for the light I have placed in you. You are not being arrogant when you walk in what I gave you. You are being obedient. Let your confidence be in me, not in yourself. Do not shrink back to make others comfortable. Do not downplay your calling to avoid rejection. You are not responsible for how others respond to your obedience. You are responsible to obey. Let me remind you, you were made for this time, not another. This time I placed you here in this generation, in this moment of history, because I saw something in you that fits my divine puzzle. Your voice matters. Your steps matter. Your obedience matters. Every yes you give me echoes into eternity. Every act of love, every hidden sacrifice, every prayer uttered in tears, it all matters. Nothing is wasted. You will begin to feel an urgency not of anxiety but of divine motion. I am moving and I am moving you. You will no longer be stuck. You will no longer live in cycles. I am breaking the loops. I am severing the ties to old patterns. The enemy tried to convince you that you would always struggle, always be overlooked, always be on the outside. That lie is broken. I speak a new word over you. Forward, not backward, not circling, forward. I prepare your heart for the unexpected. I will surprise you with my goodness. I will show you favor in places you thought were closed to you. I will elevate you in areas where you felt inadequate. I will pour my spirit upon you in greater measure. Not just for your sake, but for the people I have assigned to your voice, your touch, your presence. They are waiting. Your obedience is the key that will unlock someone else's breakthrough. Child, listen now, for I will speak to you of those who came before you, those whose names the world knows and those whose names are only written in heaven. You must understand that what you are experiencing is not new. This road of testing, fire, purification, and promise has been walked by many before you. You are not the first to feel the weight of silence, the burden of waiting, the sting of rejection, the confusion of delay. You walk in the footsteps of those who were called chosen, broken, and then elevated not by man's power, but by my spirit. Think of Abraham. I called him from his homeland, from everything familiar, into a land he did not know. I spoke a promise to him, not just of a land, but of a legacy. I told him his descendants would outnumber the stars. And yet, for decades, there was no child. His faith was tested not once, but continually. There were moments when it seemed the promise would never come. There were seasons when he doubted, when he tried to fulfill my word in his own way. But still I called him righteous, not because he was perfect, but because he believed. And when the time was right, my time not his, I gave him Isaac, the son of promise. But even then I tested him again, asking him to place that very promise on the altar, and he obeyed. That is what I look for. Not perfection, but surrender, not control, but trust. Look at Joseph. He dreamed dreams I gave him. He saw glimpses of glory, of leadership, of honor. But his journey did not begin in a palace. It began in a pit. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, in prison for years. What looked like a detour, was the very path I used to position him. But through pain, I prepared him. Through injustice I refined him. In the darkness of a prison I carved out the character necessary to carry authority without pride. And in one day I lifted him from the prison to the palace. Do not despise the days of obscurity, for in them I am crafting the very soul that will carry my glory. Moses too walked through a journey of fire. Born into danger, raised among the Egyptians, torn between two identities, he knew rejection early. He ran from his past, from his calling, and spent 40 years in the wilderness tending sheep. But that wilderness was not punishment. It was preparation. There in the stillness, I taught him how to hear me. There in the silence I formed his humility. And when he returned to Egypt, it was not in the strength of his position, but in the strength of my presence. He doubted himself. He told me he wasn't eloquent. He felt inadequate. But I do not choose based on ability. I choose based on willingness. And with a stutter and a staff, he led my people out of bondage. David, the shepherd boy anointed in secret, ignored by his own father when the prophet came. He did not start with a crown, but with sheep. Alone in the fields. He worshipped me when no one was watching. He fought lions and bears when no one saw. That was his test. Not the public battle with Goliath, but the private faithfulness when there was no audience. And when I elevated him, he did not forget me. Yes, he stumbled. He sinned, but he always returned. He was a man after my own heart. Not because he was flawless, but because he never stopped seeking me. Even in the depths of failure, he chose repentance over pride. That is what I honor. Elijah, the prophet of fire, he called down my power on Mount Carmel. And yet days later, he sat under a broom tree asking to die. He felt alone, abandoned, misunderstood. He thought the battle had been in vain. But I came to him not in the fire, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, but in a still small voice. Because my greatest work in you is not always loud. Sometimes it is in the quiet, the hidden, the whispered. And I reminded him that he was not alone. I had preserved thousands who had not bowed to idols. I am always doing more than you can see. Jeremiah my prophet wept as he delivered my words to a people who refused to listen. He was mocked, beaten, thrown into a cistern. He questioned his calling. He cried out, "Why was I born?" And yet I had appointed him before he was even formed in his mother's womb. I told him not to be afraid of their faces, for I had made him like a fortified city, like an iron pillar. His assignment was heavy, but his soul was mine. And though few listen to his voice on earth, his words echo through generations. Think also of Esther, hidden in a palace, raised as an orphan, placed in a position of influence, not by her own ambition, but by divine orchestration. When the time came to risk her life for her people, she said, "If I perish, I perish." That was her test, not in comfort, but in courage. She was not the loudest. She was not the most obvious choice. But she was available. And I used her obedience to preserve a nation Job faithful and upright, yet afflicted with unimaginable loss. His body was broken, his family taken, his reputation destroyed, his friends accused him, and his wife told him to curse me. Yet even in confusion, he cried out to me. He demanded answers, and I met him not with explanation but with revelation. I reminded him of who I am, of my wisdom, of my sovereignty. And in the end, I restored him. Not just what he lost, but more. For I do not just return, I redeem. The prophets, the apostles, the martyrs, so many walked through fire. Paul beaten, imprisoned, shipwrecked, stoned. Yet he said, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. He learned to be content in all things because he knew the secret. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. His letters were written in chains, but they carry freedom. My son Jesus walked the ultimate path of surrender. He was perfect, sinless, yet rejected, misunderstood, betrayed. The crowd that shouted, Hosanna, turned to shout, crucify him. He wept. He sweat blood. He cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me? But he endured the cross for the joy set before him. And now he is exalted, seated at my right hand, interceding for you. He understands your pain, your temptation, your sorrow, because he bore it all. He passed the ultimate test so you could walk in victory. You see now, my child, that you are part of a lineage of those who were tested, refined, and elevated. Their paths were not easy, but they were holy. Their victories did not come without struggle, but their struggle produced an eternal weight of glory. You walk among them. Their blood, their prayers, their worship, their faith, it surrounds you like a cloud of witnesses. They cheer for you. They wait to see how you will carry the baton they once held. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. Every feeling you've had, every fear, every tear, it has been felt by those who came before you. And like them, you will overcome. Not by your strength, but by mine, not by your perfection, but by my grace. I do not call the qualified, I qualify the called. Even now, I am aligning your journey with divine echoes from the past. You will feel drawn to the same places of prayer, of stillness, of courage. You will begin to understand the scriptures not just with your mind, but with your experience. They are not stories. They are patterns. Patterns of my ways. Patterns of my faithfulness. Patterns of how I work in those who yield fully to me. I want you to know that what you are facing has meaning. It is purpose. It is producing in you a legacy that will outlive your years. What I am doing in you is not just for this season, but for generations to come. The choices you make now, the faith you show now, the surrender you walk in now, it will affect more than you can see. Just as the obedience of those before you shaped your path, so will yours shape the path of those after you. You are being grafted into a holy story at a divine narrative. The same fire that touched the lips of Isaiah, the same breath that filled Ezekiel's valley of dry bones, the same spirit that fell at Pentecost, that same power is with you now. You are not at the end of the line. You are in the continuation of my movement. Even in your weakness, I am strong. Even in your questions, I am faithful. Even in your delay, I am working. I waste nothing. I forget nothing. I forsake no one. When I start a work, I complete it. When I promise, I perform. My word never returns void. What I said to you, I will do. What I showed you, I will bring to pass. Not on your schedule, but on mine. And mine is perfect. I want you to take heart. Take courage. When the darkness tries to whisper that you've missed it, that it's too late, that it's too hard, remember those before you, they heard the same lies. But they clung to me and I vindicated them. I lifted them. I fulfilled what I spoke. And I will do the same for you. You may feel small, but you are chosen. You may feel behind, but you are right on time. You may feel invisible, but I see you. The world may not understand your process, but I authored it. And what I write, no man can erase. What I ordain, no power can stop. What I begin, I finish. So lift your head, wipe your tears, take another step. You are walking a path marked by my hand. Every detour, Every delay, every heartbreak, I have used it to shape your heart for me. Do not compare your journey. I never make duplicates. I write unique stories. Yours is beautiful, holy and eternal. There will be more tests, yes, but with every test comes greater revelation, greater intimacy, greater authority. The test is not meant to break you, but to build you. It is not to shame you, but to show you what I've placed inside you. Each test brings you deeper into the mystery of who I am and who you are in me. You are not just called to survive. You are called to reign, not in pride, but in purpose, not in arrogance, but in anointing. The people of the past stood in their time. Now you stand in yours. Do not shrink back. Do not let fear silence your song. Raise your voice. Take your place. Shine my light. And when you feel weary, remember you are not the only one. You are surrounded by those who know what it costs to carry my fire. Their stories are not just in books. They are alive in heaven. And their spirits bear witness to mine. The same Spirit who sustained them will sustain you. The same love that carried them through will carry you. I have never failed. I never will. Not in them. Not in you. So trust me. Thanks for watching God's Helps. Subscribe for daily divine messages. Click on the bell icon. Don't miss out daily God's message.